I'm Vinzer Flinn, and welcome back to the Book of Flinn, where we are continuing our journey through Seasons 2 of Clone Wars and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And with me on this journey, as always, the love of my life, and now the proud owner of a patch that says Cheese Slut, it's Reigna Flinn.
It's true, I literally just had cheese, so I can't even deny it if I wanted to.
Thank you, Varen, for finding that patch.
Made my day. It was the weirdest message to get at 4:15 in the morning, but you know what? I'm super happy about the patch now, so.
I've gotten worse messages from Flynn's at weirder times.
It's true.
Alrighty, you ready to delve into the next episode of Clone Wars?
The Senate Spy. Never be doubted, a true heart should not. So that is the quote, a true heart should never be doubted. And my original prediction before I saw this episode is I'm going to try to make a prediction based off of what I think the episode's going to be about, because I've never seen it about.
I like that.
So this episode, I predicted, is about no one listening to Ahsoka and possibly learning their lesson in the end. I was wrong. The Jedi Council suspects Ross Clovis, center from Scipio, which I wrote as Skippo. And I don't know why. I have no references to a joke, so I think I literally just thought that this was going to be Skippo, the planet, or the god. I don't actually know what this is. Fear the Skippo, because they're taking part in a separatist conspiracy, so they are just going to send a spy of their own. Roll credits for the Senate Spy.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right? Anakin, usually I refer to him as Gloomwalker. Gloomy. They've been away from Coruscant for far too long with the clone army, and now he's returning to get some. I mean, he's returning for a long-awaited reunion with his secret wife. Secret. And then they name her just to remind us who he's married to, because it's a secret.
It really does have to be the worst kept secret around the Senate. Like, everyone would have to know this, like, seriously.
There are so many tells. Everybody is showing their cards in this episode that they all know. Like, oh, I'm looking for it throughout, and I'm like, there's no way they don't know. Anyways, so we start off Padme's pad on Coruscant. I'm assuming she lives on, since she's a senator. C-3PO he's being dismissed immediately as soon as Anakin shows up with what I can only hope is space pizza.
Anakin doesn't even look at him.
No, he just walks past and he's like, all right, you can go. And this is, I have a cue to me doing the brown chicka brown cow song, because they are like super excited to see each other. Here I have a question. Does C-3PO even know about their marriage? Because
yeah, you got to wonder how often they get him erased. What? You didn't see that? Get him erased?
Because if so, how is this ever kept a secret from anyone? Because R2-D2, he's beep booping that gossip onto everyone that he sees.
3PO would be gossiping about that in 6 million different languages to whoever would listen.
Right?
Or he wouldn't do it maliciously, though. He'd just fuck up and say it without meaning to, because he's 3PO, right?
He would be using it to make a ball and chain joke to Anakin in front of Obi-Wan. What do you mean ball and chain? R2-D2. Boopy boop.
By the way, what the fuck is Padme wearing?
I try not to look at her like my parents did for me when I was in high school. I try not to look at her from the neck down, because I just don't understand what she's wearing 90% of the time. The Star Wars fashion has never been something where I've been like, ooh, I gotta wear that.
I got a giant midriff. Let's do it.
Well, from the creator of Jizz Whalers. Anakin brings dinner for Padme, and it's space pizza. And that's what I'm going to go with, because space pizza. Over at the Shady Council, aka the Jedi Council, they're trying to get a spy of their own, and they don't think they can recruit Padme to the mission, but they're like, let's try to talk to Gloomwalker, but he's busy getting busy. Back over at Padme's pad, pre-coitus, because her hair is still very neat. Anna can't get it on. He gets force blocked by Obi-Wan, and Padme's upset. And, Gloomwalker can sense it, and in a perfect typical gloomy fashion, he just talks at her about it. He's just like, oh, well, yeah, this is how you're feeling, and you can't actually feel that way because it's business.
Be a good little wife while I go off to war again, will ya?
All it's missing is the tap on the head.
Right.
So he kisses her on the cheek and she leaves. And the last thing he says to her, it's all duty. Duty comes first in times of war.
I had a question written down here, which what we were saying earlier. It says, do you think all the Jedi know he's married and just decided to keep their mouths shut for the greater good? Or is it the same cluelessness right under the nose like not spotting Darth Sidious?
Or Darth Jar Jar. I have so many. I'm never giving up on that headcanon. There's so many lines that are coming up that are, I'm like, really, guys? Okay, cool. Gloomy finally shows up to the Jedi Council, and he's getting debriefed on Senator Cloves. And I wrote Cloves, not Clovis. So Senator Spice is the member of the Spice Girls that didn't make the cut. The plan is to have someone, not a Jedi, get close to him, but they have to choose carefully, and it has to be handled delicately. And when they're talking about this, my first thought was, oh my god, not Jar Jar. Oh my god, please, not Jar Jar. Oh, thank god they still want to go with Padme. I was just like, handled delicately? Please, not Jar Jar. Leave him out of this. Padme and Clovis entered the Senate the same year, and then, okay, I had less awesome Nick Fury here, because I couldn't remember Mace Windu's name, but I finally remembered it. So Mace Windu, aka less awesome Nick Fury, tells Gloomy that they were really close, which is a surprise to Gloomy. And I was like, wait, did Padme and Clovis have brown chicken and brown cows? When Gloomy makes a comment, he's like, I don't know why she'd never tell me that. Obi-Wan just raises his eyebrow, like, oh? And Yoda's like, he must be choosing to ignore all of the feelings he's catching in this room right now. Like, the Force has to tell him, and then it's like, why would you know? Yoda is he's so knows.
Gossip about you, we do.
They tell Gloomy that they already asked and she said no, so basically the plan is for him to persuade her. Why would he have a leg up? Like, there's no way they don't know. We get to the Senate, and Padme is leaving the Senate room, and Gloomy catches up to her, all professional, with the senator and the general titles, and the temperature's really cool. Padme's still not over being force blocked by Gloomy's bosses earlier, which isn't made easier by Gloomy essentially just launching into a jealous interrogation of her past with Clovis.
Not a good look for Anakin.
No, and does this guy sound familiar to you?
Well, you mean like every guy ever?
He's only there to see her because of council business, so Padme is just sassy as all get out. And I'm just like, this is a chef's kiss moment. And then she goes, that was before we were together, Padme says loudly, in public, in the Senate. Once more from the diaphragm, Padme. I don't think people on the other side of the echoey chamber could hear you.
Some alien with gigantic ears on the top. Oh, did you hear that? Oh my God.
Ferengie's like, got a tip. Ferengi, that is the first reference, but not the first reference I made in my notes. Annie and Padme, they headed onto the Senate pod thing, disc, I don't know, to continue this discussion. And I'm like, he's acting like he's there to get someone else to spy, and that Padme suddenly is on board when she hears her friend might be conspiring with the Separatists. And I'm like, I really hope the mic on that Senate pod isn't on, first off.
Yeah, it's like one button press away from a sitcom.
Also, why are they having this conversation? Why are they having this conversation here? Like, doesn't she have an office?
Yeah, like a chamber that's designed to be heard in.
So, She's suddenly on board when she hears her friend might be conspiring with the Separatists, and it's like, Padme, when the Jedi originally asked you, what did you think it was about? So now that adds to my whole theory that Yoda is just a giant gossip and he's looking for more tea to spill at the meetings. Horizontal
yeah.
relations, you say?
Guy's over 800 years old. He's just got nothing else going on.
He's got to have something to go with that tea that he's sipping.
He's peephole sized.
Oh God, he is too. He's even the right height. So Peeping Yoda.
That's a thing now.
It's true. He's really sassy. That's why he always knows when to hit the hollow call button. Okay, Gloomy is using reverse psychology here, and I get... No, actually, I can't even get why he's doing that, because she was already on board the moment he mentioned separatists. She was on board. So then he goes on to be like, oh, well, I'm here to try to recruit somebody else because it's too dangerous for you. And just, like, completely manipulates her. I just... like, when he's knows that she's the one and only choice, continues to manipulate her into the decision, and I just thought it was really disgusting. That's not how you treat your partner, but whatever. Your secret wife. Anyways, that's my rant. And then Padme is like, actually, I'm gonna do this, and you can't get mad at me because all is fair when it comes to your duties in warfare, and basically shoots his words back right at him. And I was just like, yes. Sorry, I gotta be more verbal about that. I was just arm pumping in the air. Why does Gloomy look mad afterwards? Is it because she threw the words back in her face? Because he got exactly what he wanted. She's on board.
Because he's got the emotional intelligence of a 12-year-old.
We move over to the Jedi Council, and Padme is discussing the mission with the Council of Shade, led by the... What did we call him? The Peeping Yoda. Peeping Yoda.
Peeping Yoda sounds like a sex thing. I'm not looking that up.
It'll take a bit to reconnect with him, Padme's telling them, because they haven't talked in a while. Yoda's spilling all the tea. Like, he's considering everything. I'm surprised. He goes... Well, you guys haven't, that's surprising considering your history. And Gloomy's like, what do you guys mean? What do you mean? So that just confirms that, yes, they have slept together. So more brown chickens and cows. Less awesome Nick Fury suggests rekindling the friendship and wiggles eyebrows. It's like, Padme's basically being told without being told to sexually manipulate Cloves into revealing his spicy plan. This is where I'm going with Gloomy is giving me Xander vibes. So remember this energy that he's giving right here in about a week when we do the next episode. Because I looked ahead and I was just like, there's a certain episode that I'm looking for, and it's actually the next one after this. We cut over to a swanky restaurant. Padme and Clovis, and this is where I really realized that I doubled down on just calling him Cloves the entire time. So I just decided to embrace it. Anyways, so this is the first time we see Cloves, and I know it's Clovis. He looks like an animated Luke Perry. He really does. It's like, do you not think so?
No, I can see it.
And he must be evil because he has tired eyes.
Oh, God, so looking at myself, I'm like, I must be really evil.
We're all Siths in
They accidentally invented the Sith name. Fifth. Well, hang on, I gotta womp a hair on my tongue. Fifth. What?
We're all Sith in the end. That's what I was trying to say. Woo!
Do you mean Sith-eyed or shit-eyed?
Depending on the dyslexic way it takes you, it could be either.
I'm a lord of the shit, Sith.
Uh-oh. That's not becoming a thing. There are talks about him going to Nemoidia. Is that the name of the planet?
Yeah, Nemoidia. It's like where the Trade Federation guys are from.
To try to talk some sense into these Newt guys. The fear of Skippo. The banking clan sound like loan sharks to me. Is that what I'm supposed to take away from this?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I mean that's my opinion, I guess, of all banks, but sure.
I mean, true, true.
They fund the separatists. They're helping the war and shit like that.
Yeah. He asks Padme to come with him for both personal and professional reasons. But personal was turned into like 3 syllables. So, yes, heavily insinuating the personal, which I know is 3 syllables, but you know what I mean. It's like extra drawn out. It's like Sulu'd. It's George Decade, if you will. We get to Cloves transport, and Cloves shows up and starts macking right up on Padme, and it turns out there's Gloomy right over the shoulder. He's the pilot, and he's just standing behind them. Led by R2-D2 and C-3PO. So this is going to be a super awkward flight. Anyways, he walks in super helpful, and he just goes, oh, sorry, and just breaks the middle seatbelt so that they can't sit together. Annie takes the pilot's seat, and he continues his maturity streak when he takes his sudden turns to keep dislodging Clovis, who's trying to, like, kiss Padme.
What if Clovis had like split his head open and died or something? Like, this is very irresponsible.
So we get to Nemoidia, and I have a question mark next to it because I don't believe that that's the planet's name for some reason. Senator Dodd comes out to greet them, and there's a big cut to an ominous building. So I call this the Big Ominous Building, or Bob for short, whenever I reference it. And this cut with the music made me think that they had to walk up all the stairs. Or there was just a really awkward elevator ride that we didn't get to see, and I'm a little sad about it. Inside the Big Ominous Building, Senator Dodd and they're like immediately ditch Padme and be like, okay, you go to your quarters, we're gonna go separate, because they're separatists. We cut down to the dungeon, and which I thought this was going to be a harder room to find. Turns out, nope, this is just off like the main entrance, just off in a side room somewhere. They're talking about how the banking clan is funding the largest droid factory. But whatever you do, whoever programs the current B1 bingo droids, don't let this guy anywhere near this droid factory. They're all duds. They're basically arguing about profits. While Padme walks in, they hide this hologram that's up. And I guess they don't know that there's a Lord Pogo that's also in on the deal, and he just hides back in the shadows.
Yeah, Lord Poggle was one of the Geonosians who, I swear to God, I'm not even making this shit up. Lord Poggle, I was like, it's Poggle the Greater and Poggle the Lesser. And he's... Swear to God.
I called him Pogo. This entire thing. I called him Lord Pogo. Thinking
Umbrella Academy. Lord Poggle, he's in the movies. He's one of like the separatist bigwigs.
Oh, okay. As soon as Clovis whisks Padme away, Lord Pogo, I'm just gonna go with it. He and Dodge hatch a new plan to basically exploit Cloves' feelings for Padme by poisoning her and holding the antidote hostage. So they're just gonna poison a senator.
Occupational hazard.
Over at the hangar, R2-D2 offers what I thought was a cigarette to Gloomy.
Here, man, smoke this.
Yeah, he's like, no thanks, I'm not hungry. And I'm like, on what earth is that food?
Oh, yeah, that's probably a reference back to Empire Strikes Back when Luke was on Dagobah and he had like a food case and all the food was like in like, wafers and they all looked like cookies or biscuits or something. So I think Star Wars food's just boring looking.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's definitely no Studio Ghibli food.
No.
But, like, it looks literally like he's just holding out he's like, cigarette? No? Okay. The plan is, as soon as Padme knows something, she's going to send a signal down to Annie. Over in the lobby, Dodd offers Padme a drink, and I have to say, this is pretty sly. Although he really had like to play a statistical probability of her lips touching the same place his finger did. Like I would have drank on the other side of the glass personally. I wouldn't have touched anywhere his lips were, but they have a beautiful dinner and then they're like, "All right, well, I'm going to go take you on a private tour." And then they dismiss C3PO again, and he's still complaining about it as he returns to the room where Gloomy, who apparently is impatient as ever, is just waiting in the corner of this room.
Yeah, he's like the boyfriend waiting by the phone. Where is she?
Oh, this is so gross. So Clovis and Padme are on the palace tour, and we think that the poisoning's starting to kick in because Padme's like, "Oh, I'm feeling so feverish and everything. All of a sudden, I just need some water." Basically, just anything to get him out of the room so she can go look at the holopad. This is when I learned that they were in the same room as earlier because I actually had no context to this until she goes over to the pad and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess it's the same place." There's a passcode and apparently it's Padme.
Yeah, not creepy at all, buddy.
It's a little alright. She finds the proof she needs and she's hiding it. She signals Annie, and Annie immediately books it out of the room. He's like, "All right, C3PO, like, whatever, you're on your own." And C3PO's like, "No one really likes hanging out with me." And I'm like, I'd reflect on that, honestly. So the not Jedi is supposed to just waltz through this big ominous building full of people and not raise any suspicions. I guess he's Jedi, so he can be sneaky, but I don't know. I have a problem with that. That seems a little too convenient for me.
Oh, this shit happens all the time in Star Wars. People try to figure out the timelines, and then they get into debates about how long hyperspace jumps are. It's best not to think about it.
So we cut back to Star Wars and their unfortunate fashion because in this world, women obviously don't get pockets or backs of dresses or any place besides their arse crack to hold this hologram pad. So she has to like hug him.
You ever think Natalie Portman ever watched the show and the outfits and the way she's portrayed? Like, Jesus Christ, look at my ass. What are they doing?
I don't even know. But like she drops the card as Annie comes in and like he force grabs it, and I was just like, that was smooth. There were some smooth moments in it. Those were the only two. Padme is suddenly overtaken by the poison. Annie's already ducked off, so he's given the memory chip to R2, and he's like, "Here, hold on to this." So R2 naturally puts it next to the cigar case that he had earlier. We're not back in 5 minutes, just go anyways because they need to see the footage. Which, amazingly, I guess everything that happens within 5 minutes. Over to Dodd and Cloves. Cloves knows that she's been poisoned, and basically Dodd's like, "Well, yeah, she's a spy." And he's just like, No, I don't believe it. I'm gonna go check it out." So he goes and he checks it, and he sees that, yep, the little holographic disc thing is gone. She's just like, "I can't believe that you'd be part of the Separatists." And I'm like, he's with something called the Banking Clan, Padme. Like, you really didn't see this coming?
No one's like, "Yay, the Banking Clan."
Yeah, like, I'm totally gonna trust them. Clovis admits that he loves Padme in this moment when they're confessing that, she has been checking in on him and stuff like that. And he's like, "Oh, I love you." And then in the same breath, he's just like, "So give me the chip or else I'm not giving you the antidote." Like, yeah, okay.
That's a foundation for a healthy relationship right there.
That's so much love. Annie comes in and he's just like, "All right, we need to get out of here," all that sort of stuff. So he's like, "We need to get you to get that." Sure, yeah, hologram disc, whatever. We need to get that antidote. And he's like, "All right, come with me quickly." And Annie is doing like a funeral march. Like, he is doing the slowest walk ever. He's making C3PO seem like he's walking speedy.
Mm-hmm.
"We must make haste." Slowly saunters down the stairs. Clovis basically turns on Dodd, is like, "Give me that or I'll shoot you." Takes the antidote, goes on with Annie, and then he runs up to Annie and he goes, "All right, give me back the disc." And he's just like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." And just basically abandons him on this plan.
Yep, fuck you.
And so, screwed Cloves on Nemoidia, Dodd's like, we need to talk. And I was just like, oh, And he walks towards him, and then I'm like, oh, I guess nothing happens. Like, that's just... On the ship, Padme gets the antidote and starts apologizing to Annie for him getting jealous of her. And what did I even just type? Gloomy sucks. Everyone's the a-hole except for Padme. Like, I hate everything. Yoda just needs some tea, and he needs to find a better way to get it than getting his senators poisoned. The end. Dun, 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 dun. Just kidding. What did you think of this episode?
Definitely not my favorite. I don't mind spy stories, but it's pretty hard to do one in 20 minutes, and most of it was very cringy to watch.
Like, was this the whole plot of this?
Yeah, I guess.
This was a horrible war story. They should have forgotten about this one.
Like you say at the end there, Padme's apologizing to Anakin for his bullshit, and but she did everything up to, oh, Anakin, you're right. I'm just a silly girl. I needed you,
And he's just like, oh, I never would have doubted you. Okay, let's backtrack. Hides in her room, breaks the seatbelt so they can't sit next to each other, risks brain damaging 2 senators, one of them being your secret wife, so that he can't mac on her, sneaks around the palace to try to find her because he doesn't trust that she's not getting her mac on or making brown chicken and brown cows with other people. Yeah, okay. How about we cleanse our palate with another definitely not problematic show?
Well, it's going to have to be one different from the one I just watched.
Oh my god.
As we move on to Buffy Season 2, Episode 4, Inca Mummy Girl.
AKA, my culture is not a costume.
Now, this episode starts off at the museum where we're going to have a student exchange. Buffy's going to have a roommate for a couple of weeks, and my first thought is, oh, is he going to be sexy and handsome and drive Angel out of his mind?
Nope.
Nope.
Xander.
Yeah, it'd be one or the other.
Yeah.
Cordelia gets Sven, who she is clearly planning to bang. Who's that guy? Rodney Munson, God's gift to the bell curve, who growls at people who get too close and beats Xander up every day for 5 years.
I laughed so hard at the line where he's like, I've almost memorized all 14 of the natural elements. And then Willow's like, there are 103. And then it's like shocked Pikachu face.
Rodney is scraping something off a ceremonial mask into a baggie.
Yep, just no big.
Next stop, the Incan burial chamber. So there's legends of an Incan girl, of course, 500 years ago, became their princess. Sounds like our potential guest star, Monster of the Week. They actually do show a mummy.
Who has an exchange program where someone arrives to the school unattended on a bus?
Yeah. Have you arriving by bus?
Because Buffy's like, I gotta go pick him up. I'm like...
Oh man, buses still give me trauma flashbacks to the Greyhound across the U.S.
Yeah, you could write an entire novel on probably that drive.
Oh yeah, it was I lived several lives, none of them good. So Munson creeps into the exhibit, and I hate his hair and tracksuit. So he steals the ancient plate, breaks the plate, and the Incan mummy immediately begins to strangle him.
It's also the fakest plate break ever. Like, you can tell he's struggling against something that's not actually holding the plate.
I can't believe no one bumped that plate before and didn't get strangled.
Also, they mentioned that she was buried alive, so she just suffocated perfectly while holding the plate.
So back over at the library, Buffy says just once she'd like to be overlooked instead of the chosen one so she can go to the dance. I'm so stuffy, give me a scone. Giles, it's as if you know me.
That is an iconic line. Blah, blah, blah. I'm so stuffy, give me a scone is an iconic line in all of the series. It peaks here, people.
I love it. So Giles relents before she gets kicked through a wall. Willow walks in as Xander is telling Buffy how much of a best friend Willow is, which she hears. Willow says Rodney is missing. They had a chem tutorial. They joke that the mummy must have risen up to attack him, but then they're like, oh shit, right, stuff like this happens all the time. How are we not at a high school kids yet?
Right? Xander stumbles on the plot right away.
Hey, hold up, we're in season 2. Like, yeah, this is definitely what happened. So the gang goes to the museum to look for Rodney, and like, how'd they even get in? Is this, I just assumed Buffy and Giles must have to pick locks easily or kick them open or something. They never deal with the little logistics. Like, you know, if I were to go break into a museum in the middle of the night, it would be an ordeal. Like, I wouldn't get in. I'd hurt myself and just not get in. So a guy with a puffy shirt attacks and then runs off. Willow discovers Rodney in the sarcophagus, drained to a dried up husk. So who the fuck was Puffy Shirt Guy? Apparently he ran in fear when he saw Rodney.
Do you recognize? Name that celebrity.
I think I might have missed this one.
His name is Gil Birmingham, who, okay, if you watch Twilight, you will point at the TV like I did, like Leo DiCaprio when he shows up years later, but he was also in Transformers The Last Night. And he's been like in a whole bunch of different things. He was very busy in the 90s.
He's one of those guys?
Different shows. Yeah, he's the Hispanic / Central American / indigenous actor. It's not great. And one more fun fact about Gil Birmingham, he got discovered at the gym as a bodybuilder, and he was in a Diana Ross music video.
Back at the library, Giles says the mummy is from eastern Peru and he needs time to translate the seal they took. And so Buffy has to go pick up Empata. It's been a while since I've watched the episode. Am I saying that right? Empata.
Yeah, Empata.
Empata, her exchange student guest who just happens to be from South America. So this guy is about to get sucked into monster hunting by making him translate.
All I have as a note for this entire library scene is shut up, Xander. That's all I have. It's the only note. Because I literally have scene, library, shut up, Xander, scene, bus depot. That's it.
At the bus depot, Empata's waiting at the station, all fresh-faced and naive. A voice calls his name. Mummy girl jumps out and kisses Empata and drains his life force. Empata, we barely knew you.
Welcome to Sunnydale. Frick.
Population varies.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen some pretty scary shit on Greyhound buses too, man. It's all going to be in the memoir. So the gang shows up and looks for him. Xander makes a casual racist joke about Spanish words. They find Empata, but in the form of a young, sexy lady. Xander makes another racist joke. So back at Buffy's house, the gang talks to Empata like she's never seen the inside of a house. Xander talks at her like she has a brain injury or something, or more likely he has one.
Yep.
But of course it would be new to her, which is no excuse for Xander being an idiot. Willow observes that Empata is a girl, not a boy.
Very astute, Willow. Congrats. That's why you are always second in the science fair.
Xander's killing me with the dumb talk. Like, even in the 90s, I would have like stop doing that. Like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I can't with him. He's aging about as well as Wayne in Wayne's World.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
No.
So Empata's eager to go to school, meet new people, no doubt to consume their life essences. A brief glimpse outside in the dark where apparently an Incan warrior is lurking. You know, I just hate it when the Incan warriors are just lurking in the bushes like that.
They are lurking.
All right, back at school. Cordelia's exchanges a big slab of a fellow that doesn't speak American.
Yep.
Minus 10 points to Cordelia. So Seth Green, who's everywhere in the 90s, he appears. Oz, looking like every guy I knew in the 90s. Like, holy shit.
I don't want to telegraph how I feel about Oz, but I'm very happy. This is the only really, this is the highlight of the episode. One of the highlights of the episode for me.
Well, you just put your hands in the air, so. So there's a sign in the background that says World Culture Dance at the Bronze. And I'm like, what kind of sweetheart deal does this bar have with this high school?
I don't. This high school And this bar, like all the dances are there for some reason. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's like the pub at St. Mary's or the old Greywood at Dow or something, you know?
Maybe, but it sounds like it's quite a bit of a distance from the school because they're like, Cordelia tells her in the beginning, it's like, oh, it's half a block from the good side of town. We don't have a lot of town here, says the people with a bus depot and at least two malls and
A number of abandoned warehouses.
yeah, exactly. An entire district. Wouldn't be surprised if it's like a meatpacking district somewhere.
So Xander's trying to figure out his culture-y outfit. Willow asks, why are you suddenly so worried about looking like an idiot? Like, that ship has sailed, buddy.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, that came out wrong.
So Buffy and Impata arrive at school, meet Giles, who immediately is like, can you translate this ancient Incan artifact?
Master of subtlety, this man.
Spraying scone crumbs all over everybody. So Giles is talking and gesturing to the artifact as they talk, and a teacup appears in his hand like a magic trick, and he takes a sip.
Ooh,
Where did that teacup
nice.
He just went, teacup.
It's the magic of the Brits.
That's English magic.
It's like yo-yos, but they have teacups attached on the other end of the string, so they can have retractable teacup.
But if you asked him about it, he'd be like, politely, what? He just, never answer the question. Okay, Impata believes the characters on the artifact seem to be bodyguards, which I'm guessing is the big fella in the backyard. Xander leaves with Impata. Willow's left behind. Outside in the sports stand, Xander describes a Twinkie to Impata, and we get the added delight of watching him talk with his fucking mouth full.
Yeah. I hate this whole scene.
Okay, in the library, Buffy comforts Willow by saying Impata will only be here 2 weeks, and Willow correctly replies that Xander will find someone else to obsess about. 100%. Willow happily surprises me this early on in the season by saying she has a choice to watch Xander date every girl and wait till she gets noticed or she can get on with her life, but she hasn't made that choice yet. But, there was something about her saying that she sees what's going on, and she's not just, hopelessly maybe she's hopelessly obsessed, but she's aware of recognizing it's the first step, I guess.
Yep.
So Giles and Buffy, brackets, she helped, discover that a mummy can go around sucking life force. Under the bleachers, Xander gets attacked by the handsome warrior fellow, but manages to boot him down the stands. Yeah, right. Total bullshit. Xander and Potter run back to the library. He was after the seal.
Gil is a bodybuilder. I do not believe that Xander ever had a chance standing up to this guy.
He could have tore his legs off like wishbones. Get real. Here's a scene for you.
Him and Impata could have split.
Got Xander under the bleachers. His fucking legs are torn off. A mouthful of Twinkie.
He had a great time.
He looked like he went as he would have wanted to. The library, Xander nearly spills the beans about what they do to Impata, and everyone looks genuinely concerned for a sec.
Like, I think he actually was going to, and then he saw their looks and then changed, gears at the last second. But I genuinely think he was just going to tell her.
Yeah, seemed like it. Says they're a crime club instead.
Yes, because that's less weird.
They do a lot of committing of the crimes, but, whatever.
It's true.
Impata says the seal must be destroyed and that she wants a normal life. Willow tells Xander to take Impata to the dance. He says, "You're my best friend." The angst.
Do you think if they hadn't shown us this whole thing at the beginning with the mummy being released and kind of us being in on it while they're not, do you think that it would have been obvious? Do you think you would have caught on to it or no?
I'd like to think that I would have, but I probably would have been...
Because she's really being obvious. Like, she is being so obvious between this scene and the next scene is at Buffy's house and stuff. This one is very...
So Buffy and Giles figure they need to go back to the museum to look for the other pieces of the seal. At the school, Xander asks Impata to the dance. When she says she likes him too, he asks if she's a praying mantis.
Technically no, but you are on the right track.
Yeah, he was closer than he thought. In the bathroom, the scar-faced warrior shows up. Ampada died 500 years ago and says she's innocent. No, you must die. She kisses the warrior and sucks his life force out and comes out of the bathroom and accepts the dance invite. This reminds me of one of my friends in college who she was a very pretty girl, but she was tall and could fight. So the drunk girl would attack her in the bathroom and she'd fucking knock her out and come out just like the same vibe. Like, no, nothing went wrong in there. Everything's cool. Later on, I had to knock some girl out. She's fucking with me. Same vibe.
Yep.
All right, at Buffy's house, and Pot is getting ready for the dance, but Buffy has other plans, canceled plans.
I have a comment. In one point in this scene, she's like, I don't have any lipstick. But, I'm sorry, in the last scene, what was she applying in the bathroom? She applied lipstick in the bathroom.
Dear liar.
Also, where would she get a lipstick? Ampada. He had lipstick. Good for him.
Ampada tells about a chosen one that had to fulfill her duty to others, which Buffy finds very familiar. She almost discovers the desiccated corpse in Ampada's luggage.
This is a big scene. This scene leaves a lot of people to believe that the mummy herself was actually a slayer. Her society misunderstood her purpose because they sent her to the underworld to protect them, not knowing that she was actually supposed to be doing it on the other side. And they sacrificed their best protector. So good job. Way to read the fine print on that legend.
I failed to read the fine runes. That's an interesting theory. I like that.
Yeah.
Xander shows up looking like Clint Eastwood to pick up his date. Wait, where's you and Willow?
Salivating boy talk is Xander sounds like me after a double dose of Indica. I was attacked a little bit by that one. I was like, because there's some points where I'm just basically nonverbal, or I'm half asleep.
Buffy's mom, 2 days and she's already fitting right in, and Buffy's like, yeah, how about that? So at the Bronze, more 90s era music band flashbacks. Why is Willow dressed like an Inuit fisherman?
Oh.
Imagine wearing that to a bar.
So they make a couple references to what it was called back in the 90s, which is a not cool name. So we're going to go with Inuit fisherman. And oh my goodness. It's like, it's very, very accurate. Like, it's not like a sexied version of it. I will give it props for that. How accurate it is, I don't know. I haven't heard that it was inaccurate, but I have heard that either way, my culture is not my costume. So at the cultural appropriation party,
did not age well. Cordelia compares her exchange student to a dog you leave at the Grand Canyon, but it follows you home anyway.
Oh, why would you leave a dog at the Grand Canyon?
Right. Fucking the real monsters. So Buffy's Giles arrives to report that the bodyguard has been found dead in the bathroom. His job was to make sure the mummy didn't wake up and escape. Putting it together, Buffy searches Ambada's trunks and finds her dirty laundry, also the corpse.
Also, Joyce has no questions about why Giles is at her house.
They've met already, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but like, why is the high school librarian
showing around
up to your house on like what you presume is a Saturday night, because this is when a dance is, or a Friday night?
Just here to see your teenage daughter again.
Yeah. Hi. Let's go to her room. This is why there's a lot. There's a headcanon that where Joyce is just stoned.
She just rolls with the punches. She's heavily medicated.
Yeah, she's just put that. It's like my favorite headcanon from Prophecy Girls. Shout out to them. That she is just stoned, like edibles, or that's why she's out of town a lot, is because she's doing drug deals. Like, just it's fantastic. Joyce, loved Joyce.
At the Bronze, Xander and Ampada dance while Willow watches from her parka, sweating profusely, I imagine.
Willow is so good for the physical comedy where she's like, shrug.
Yeah.
She can, the turning.
She can be very funny with like a very bland like facial expression. It's good.
Yep.
Seth Green, what I don't say, oh, I was like, oh, I'm Seth Green. He sees Willow and he's like, oh man, I'm in love.
It's so cute. I love it.
Buffy and Giles speed along in his prehistoric car, secondhand bought from Mr. Bean.
It's a Citroen.
Xander is dancing. Sure, he's getting lucky tonight. He's about to get he's about to get sucked off all right, but it's not what it is. But she runs off. That one got you good.
Yeah, it did.
The seal has to be reassembled to put the mummy away again. So Buffy will go find her. Giles will go look for the pieces. Turns out Cordelia's exchange student speaks perfect English. LOL. Empata finds another chump in a cowboy outfit to drain, but is interrupted. The actor looked familiar.
Yes. This is someone that you will see around. He kind of becomes like a regular classmate that you kind of see.
Okay.
He's gone on to do some really big things, so I'm not surprised that you recognize him.
Okay. Keep an eye out for that guy again. Empata is tearful but won't say why. Xander's just thrilled she seems to like him. An extreme close-up of them kissing, which I really could have gone without, starts draining him dry, but she can't do it. And I'm like, oh god, she really does like him. Fuck. At the museum, how did Giles get in there again anyway? I keep asking this question. Like, he's definitely got a set of lockpicks with him.
That's what I mean. Like, you said crime club, as in they, commit most of the crimes, like breaking and entering. But what I wish we had is a deleted scene of Giles gluing at least one finger to his glasses.
All right, so Giles starts piecing the bits back together, and Empata must feel it, and she takes off. So Buffy finds Willow next to the cheese snacking area, which is shaped like a tower. Hashtag cheese slut.
Yes!
Seth Green tries to talk to Willow, but just misses her. They find Xander backstage. At the museum, Giles has one more piece when old Alligator Arms grabs him and smashes the seal.
Also, why is Giles narrating to himself only one piece left? Like, who is he talking to? I guess old Alligator Arms, but...
I forgot I wrote Alligator Arms.
They made really good time. Like, her and Buffy made really good time considering they had to bus to the school.
Yeah, they must have just got it. So Buffy does a super leap, and Giles falls right into the sarcophagus. The hand-to-hand begins, and it's a pretty fast fight. Buffy goes into the sarcophagus, too. Willow shows up, starts getting choked out. Xander shows up and stops her and puts himself in danger. Buffy breaks out, pulls the mummy away, which is now looking mummy-ish, and the fucking alligator arms come off.
Like, we're just left with the arms. It's like...
So the mummy breaks apart, and it looks like Xander is flying Han Solo again. So they just leave. Like, someone else can clean this shit up. Imagine poor guy coming in the next day. Like, what the fuck happened in here?
Yeah, so the mummy, like, suddenly there's an extra one, and it imploded. Also, the plate's broken. Why does the mummy suddenly have braces? Like, it's just... Also, did the parents of this kid just never mention anything?
Yeah, what happened to the... Empata's gone missing. Like, there should be an inquiry.
Literally nothing. It's just like, oh, they went to Sunnydale. That happens sometimes with the kids up there.
Bermuda Triangle for teenagers. So, let's see here. Back at the school, Xander's bummed out, and he's starting to seriously question his taste in women. So, my summary of this episode is I didn't mind this one. The story is, surprisingly, I thought with that title I was going to hate it. The story is very, vampirish in nature, but the villain had a lot of parallels with Buffy, having a destiny thrust upon them, and then the question of, do you want to do what you were supposed to or not? Empata chose to kill to save herself, who knows how many times, but she is clearly a victim in all this, so it's not cut and dry.
No. And when they were fighting at the end, there was a lot of people who were commenting on the fact that Empata keeps up with Buffy quite well when they're fighting. Like, even their styles seem a little similar. So that also leads to further belief that Empata was a misunderstood slayer.
So, predictions. Xander will next fall in love with a creature from the Black Lagoon. She'll be like a swim instructor or something, and then she'll lay eggs in him. Wait, I can never tell when you laugh if I've accidentally predicted a future episode or you just think it's funny. We're gonna see.
Ooh, okay.
Other prediction is we'll be seeing a lot more of Seth Green because I remember seeing him on this show in the old days. So I expect him to be a semi or series regular. It's just one of those things I did, even though not watching the show. You see the commercials by osmosis. You're like Seth Green's in that show.
Well, it was kind of like Angel being a vampire was not a shock to you. That's just, osmosis, right?
Pick up a few things.
Yeah, exactly.
Unanswered questions still. What's the fucking deal with the bronze? Will Giles ever get a new car? And why is there no security or locked door? I'm just going to go on about that forever. The security. No one locks doors in Sunnydale, apparently. I'm going with that. Well, that's it from us this week. So we'll be back next week with more Star Wars and Buffy. And remember, vote McCluskey in District 5 in Dartmouth.